Hands up.
So, Megan, go to the side. You want to stand? Joe, you want to stand kind of in front of this flag?
Great. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Is your Jaro on?
Yes.
On.
Okay, good. Good morning, welcome, thank you for being here. Dawn Dunning, Miriam Haley, Jessica Mann, Annabella Shora, Tarale Wolf, Lauren Young, Megan Hast, Joan Iluzzi Orbon. 8 women who have changed the course of history in the fight against sexual violence. These are 8 women who pulled our justice system into the 21st century by declaring that rape is rape and sexual assault is sexual assault no matter what. Rape is rape, whether it's committed by a stranger in a dark alley or by an intimate partner in a working relationship. It's rape, whether it's committed by an indigent person or a man of immense power, prestige, and privilege. Rape is rape, whether the survivor reports within an hour, within a year, or perhaps never. It's rape despite the complicated dynamics of power and consent after an assault. It's rape even if there is no physical evidence, and even if it happened a long time ago. This is the new landscape for survivors of sexual assault in America, I believe, and this is a new day. It's a new day because Harvey Weinstein has finally been held accountable for crimes he committed. The women who came forward courageously and at great risk made that happen. Weinstein is a vicious, serial sexual predator who used his power to threaten, rape, assault, trick, humiliate, and silence his victims. He has been found guilty of criminal sexual act in the 1st degree and will face, on that count, a state prison sentence of no less than 5 years and up to 25 years. To the jurors, I want to thank the jurors for their service and careful attention. Their verdict turned the page in our justice system on men like Harvey Weinstein. I want to say thank you to the assistant district attorneys, paralegals, and analysts who worked on this case, including Maxine Rosenthal, Kevin Wilson, Shannon Goldberg, Carrie Dunn, John Irwin, Alyssa Marino, Andy Clark, Danny Mejia Cruz, Stephanie Littell, and Emily Hogan, and especially to Harriet Galvin, Megan Hast, and Joan Iluzzi Orbon, who conducted a terribly difficult and meticulous investigation and performed masterly a trial under the brightest of spotlights. And finally, to the survivors of Harvey Weinstein, I owe, and we all owe, an immense debt to you, who had the courage beyond measure to speak your story to the world, to this courtroom, at great personal risk and in great personal pain. To those of us who were privileged to be in the courtroom when they testified, you know what I mean. These survivors weren't just brave, they were heroic. Words can't describe adequately the sacrifices the survivors made to pursue justice. Weinstein, with his manipulation, his resources, his attorneys, his publicists, and his spies, did everything he could to silence the survivors. But they refused to be silent. They spoke from their hearts, and they were heard. They were heard by Weinstein's other survivors and by sexual predators all over the world. They sacrificed their privacy and self-protection, knowing better than anyone the extent of Weinstein's power, manipulation, retribution, and abuse. To them, I would say, you broke silence to hold him accountable. And believe me when I say that because you have done so, a generation of sexual assault survivors and all of us heard your every word. Thank you. I'll take a couple of questions.
Sir, are you fully satisfied with this verdict, or do you feel in some way you came up short? You just mentioned could be as little as 5 years.
Well, I'm certainly not dissatisfied by the verdict. I think this was a very difficult case, a very challenging case, and a case that really moved our understanding of what sexual assault is, where it can occur, shattered myths that I think have been part of the criminal justice system for a long time. So I believe a B felony conviction with a maximum of up to 25 years is not the top counts in the indictment, but by no means am I disappointed with the jury's unanimous statement that Harvey Weinstein is guilty of sexual assault and rape. Any other questions?
Some of the women, like Annabella Shore and Jessica Mann, it appears the jury repudiated their testimony. Do you have any concerns that women are going to have to endure such terrible cross-examination that they endured at the hands of Weinstein's lawyers? Well,
I think with regard to Jessica Mann, Harvey Weinstein was convicted for rape in the 3rd degree.
Right.
Ms. Shiora took great risk and was in substantial pain testifying about what happened to her many years ago. I can't look behind the jury's verdict or how they arrived at that. We have to respect that process. But by no means is it a statement against Ms. Shiora or against anything that she said in court. Jurors find a way through to a solution that they believe adequately brings them all together with a unanimous verdict. In terms of the cross-examination, I think we saw cross-examination, the kinds that we've seen for years and years and years. I hope that with this verdict, it will become more obvious that those kinds of attacks on the survivors and victims when they're on the stand, making it seem like it's all their fault, will be realized as legal attacks that just simply are no longer going to work in this day and age, and it's time that lawyers stop using them and continuing the myths that I think the jury verdict busted today.
D.A. Vance, what's your message to women about coming forward? Because some have questioned why did it take the women so long to come forward. What's your message to women who may be attacked, whether it's today or last year? What's your message
Well,
today?
first of all, I would say that, Dean, with this, it was Dean, right? With this verdict, I hope that survivors will see that in this justice system, prosecutors, judges, and juries will believe them. Even when the facts are not simple, and even when the dynamics of the relationships between the survivors and the abuser are complicated. So I think, Dean, the message is this is a big day, this is a new day, and I hope women will understand the significance of the jury verdict today. In terms of the time it takes to report a sexual assault, Dean, we cannot put ourselves in the shoes of a victim of sexual assault to understand what is going through his or her mind. You heard on the witness stand the reasons why a number of these women survivors did not come forward. They were deathly afraid of Harvey Weinstein, for one thing, and that he would ruin their career. So there's all sorts of dynamics that make survivors of sexual assault not comfortable to come forward. However, those stories are now part of what we all now understand better after this trial that survivors have to go through. So, Dean, I think my hope is with this verdict, survivors of sexual assault, whether it's of Mr. Weinstein or whether it's of someone else, will come forward, and our office and others like our office will, I hope, be there to listen to them and to help them move forward.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day.
My goodness.
Something else happened? You can unplug. You can unplug everybody, guys. Everybody does. Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time, patience, and cooperation.
Of course, they were pressured by thank you to all of you that reported everything in the process. So I guess it was work that came out from everyone, and so that's the important thing, is working all together. That's what I feel.
We're so surprised that you providing what you did back in 2015, and you're not here in these courtroom halls.
It's okay. I always said if I am needed to do something, I would do it, because of course I know this is for many other women, and so let's see for the LA trial.
What's next for you? How do you move on with your life and your goals?
I am moving on. For me, it's not having situation like this happening again. It's my goal in life. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna keep the conversation open. I'm gonna be exposed and talk about this and speak about this, because I want this to stay in the mind of people. So, yeah.
Ma'am, I missed the beginning of this. What is your involvement here? Were you a victim of Harvey Weinstein?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Can I please clarify your first and last name?
But just answer the question.
My name is Ambra Battilana Gutierrez.
Could you spell that for us? I'm sorry.
Ambra Battilana and Gutierrez.
And to clarify, you are not involved in this case, but you will be in California's case.
Yes, I am not involved in this, and but I'm happy for the outcome. And of course, I'm going to be involved in the LA case.
Thank you.
Thank you,
So you have
guys.
no involvement in it?
No.
All people smoke!
¿Y no hablas español?
No, yo soy italiana.
Raj. That's everybody right outside of the guy that's going to jail. Alan. Picture, man. That was a good picture. Got it.
You got it?
Right.
Alright, I'm going upstairs.
Hold on, I don't think I need anything now, man. I think I'm done. I mean, that was his chair.
That's it.
That was a good picture, man. Hey, yeah. What's up? Yeah.
Good man.
I just got it. Oh yeah. Got that. What's up? No worries.
Not dropped over here.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I changed my stuff. I just didn't know how long they were going to be. Good, man. I got 3, and I think it's over. I'm going to stay on until they somebody leaves. Good job, man. Nice getting down here. I didn't know how to do it.
That was the best one to be honest with you.
That's what I'm telling you. I mean, see clams.
Did they have the one?
Not well. Oh, they did.
Oh, you went over there, right?
I know. I am here. All right, buddy. Down there. I'm chilling. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
We got through it.
Yes, we did.
And we behaved. We behaved. None of us get taken out of the building by our collar and then come back in here again and, get locked in the courthouse. Yep. Done. All good.
Thank you for your service and your time. See you on the 11th.
If not, I'll talk to California, we got it first. Going to move to openings. I would have rather seen it go away myself.
Hey, Georgie. From, yeah, hold on one second. From, Bristol. So.
Are.
All right.
Oh,
so
yes,
you guys
you
aren't
are.
going to hear from us.
Well, really?
Donna! Donna!
It's a cop-out. Donna, please come back.
All right, I have a short statement. Today, the jury in the criminal case of the people of the state of New York versus Harvey Weinstein returned a verdict against the defendant.
Now, you got to get down, all right?
Harvey Weinstein.
It's not about you, babe. Get down.
Do you want to go over there? Is that what you want to do? This is a legal reckoning for Harvey Weinstein. The three witnesses whom I represent have been role models in courage. Without them and their willingness to testify under oath in this case, and without their willingness to be subjected to an intense and brutal cross-examination, this result would never have been won. Mimi Haley is one of the two victims in this criminal case, and she is my client. Mimi sacrificed her right to privacy in the interests of justice. Annabella Shore was a very brave witness on this issue of sexually predatory conduct. Lauren Marie Young was a Molyneux witness, prior bad act witness. She's also one of the two victims in the Los Angeles County criminal case against Harvey Weinstein, which will be prosecuted in Los Angeles very soon. All of my three clients should be considered heroes of the women's movement and the victims' rights movement. These witnesses told their truth under oath, despite what many people felt were unfair attacks on their credibility by Harvey Weinstein's defense lawyers, who attempted to do anything and everything legally possible to challenge the motives of the witnesses and blame them for what the witnesses testified that the defendant Harvey Weinstein did to them. Fortunately, the defense attempts to discredit them were not successful. My clients bravely stood in their truth and refused to be intimidated, bullied, or shamed into substantially changing their testimony about what the defendant did to them. I'm very proud of them. I'm very happy that the jury delivered the verdict that was read in court today as to Mimi and as to Jessica, whom I do not represent. The jury took their time. They asked very thoughtful questions in advance of the verdict, and we thank them for their service on this historic case and for their carefully considered verdict, which I believe is a just result as to Mimi and to Jessica. Harvey Weinstein will now have to finally face the serious consequences of his criminal behavior at his sentencing here in New York on March 11th. The most serious charge is the one that he was convicted on for my client Mimi. For that, he can face 10 to 25 years. And the victim does have an opportunity to speak at the sentencing and give her victim impact statement. And in the event that Mimi is available on March 11th, she and I will be here in order to do that. That he was okay, good, thank you, that's good. So In addition, I look forward to seeing him in Los Angeles after the sentencing, as he attempts to defend himself against the criminal charges which will face him there. And as I said, I represent Lauren Young, who's one of the 2 victims for whom charges have been filed in Los Angeles. And she was a Molyneux witness in this case. I look forward to his sentencing and the next criminal trial in Los Angeles, where, as I said, I'll be representing Lauren Marie Young, and this case will continue. I will say this about Annabella. Even though the jury did not find beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Mr. Weinstein, was guilty of crime against Mimi and a crime against Jessica and sexually predatory conduct, Annabella is absolutely one of the bravest women I know. She sacrificed so much privacy, invested so much time, went through so much just for the cause of justice. She didn't have to do it. She did do it. And I'm just so honored to know her and to represent her. The fact that they did not find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt on the issue of sexually predatory conduct does not mean that there weren't members of the jury who believed Annabella. Although I have not had an opportunity to speak, nor have I heard any interviews by members of the jury, I have confidence that there were people in the jury, there were members of the jury who did credit Annabella's testimony. It's just that the jury could not find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the highest burden of proof in the law. It's always possible that she was believed, but that the high burden of proof required to find him guilty on sexually predatory conduct was not something that the jury could find. But nonetheless, she's so brave. Susan B. Anthony once said, "Courage is the best protection a woman can have." And I just can't say enough about her courage through all of this. And I'm also going to say in advance, I know there are going to be many people in Los Angeles who are going to be testifying in the Los Angeles case whom you have not yet heard from, and who will also demonstrate courage in testifying in LA. So I'll be happy to take some questions.
If you could, what would you tell Harvey Weinstein right now?
Pardon me?
If you could talk to him, what would you tell Harvey Weinstein right now?
If I could talk to Harvey Weinstein, what would I tell him right now? Well, I just heard that his attorney said that he was shocked. And he was surprised by the verdict. Well, he shouldn't have been surprised. If you do to women what you did to Mimi, what the jury found that you did to Mimi, criminal sexual act, what the jury found that you did to Jessica, you shouldn't be surprised if you have to face criminal consequences for the crimes that you committed against them. You shouldn't be shocked. You should have been prepared for this. It's no longer business as usual in the United States. This is the age of empowerment of women. And you cannot intimidate them anymore, because women will not be silenced. They will speak up. They will have their voice. They will stand up and be subjected to your small army of defense attorneys cross-examining them, attempting to discredit them, humiliate them, shame them. and they will still stand in their truth. So Harvey Weinstein, this justice has been a long time coming, but it's finally here. And it's not the end, because LA is still going to proceed. And I believe that will happen after the sentencing, that he will be quickly going to Los Angeles, and we're looking forward to seeing him there.
Who needs to be held responsible next?
I'm sorry?
Who needs to be held responsible next? Like, for instance,
Can't hear you.
who needs to be held responsible next? Like, who would you like to see being questioned?
In
Like
this
Prince
case?
Andrew, for instance? Prince Andrew.
Okay, well, Prince Andrew, that's, Prince Andrew needs to start by talking to the FBI. And so I do hope that everyone who saw my message on the yellow school bus on Friday to Prince Andrew, and to the public in Great Britain, which said, if you see this man, ask him to call the FBI, and it had the FBI's number. It's not an accident that was on a school bus, because it's about children with Jeffrey Epstein and his sex trafficking of underage girls. So my message is, it's time to step up to the bar of justice, or at least talk to the FBI, say what you know.
Are you upset that they haven't questioned him yet? That he wasn't
Well, they haven't questioned him because he hasn't agreed to be questioned. The clock is ticking. Thank you. Any other questions about Harvey Weinstein? Or what happened today? I'll just say I'm very happy. I'm thrilled. When the verdict came back, guilty for Bill Cosby, I said women were believed. And now that the verdict has come back guilty for Harvey Weinstein, I will say once again, women were believed. So for those of you who are listening and watching, if you are a victim of rape or sexual abuse or sexual assault, please know that this is a new day for victims of gender violence. Law enforcement is now beginning to believe you. Juries are beginning to believe you and to convict. So just have courage. This is a new day. Justice may be coming for you as well. Thank you.